Well, welcome everyone to beautiful Sulphur Springs. I was just having a conversation with my good friend Daryl Egner, and we were talking about growing up with the Sulphur Springs and how we used to actually, the springs were the location that everybody swam. And behind us is my personal community pool here in Sulphur Springs that I use for doing my swimming laps, not nearly regularly enough. But we are here this morning not necessarily to talk about the incredible springs, but to talk about our Resilient Tampa report. This is an incredible moment for the city of Tampa, and I couldn't be more excited to be standing before you this morning. This has been well over a year, a journey that has taken close to 18 months to get to this point. So very excited. What we did during this journey was to take a look at the current stressors on the shocks and stressors on the city of Tampa and how we could address those effectively, not only in the current time frame, but moving forward into the city's future. And led by our incredible Resiliency and Sustainability Officer, Whit Raymer, who we were able to lure into city service, bring him back home from Washington, D.C. We are very, very excited that he headed this team that included international experts as well as community members. This report is the culmination of a number of individuals playing a very important part. As I said, we brought in experts from around the world, but we also looked to community members. And we were able to have workshops, even during the pandemic. WIT held workshops, phone calls, Zoom meetings. We also were able to get the input of close to 1,800 residents by sending out a survey that was done in English and Spanish. So again, trying to be very, very inclusive of the entire community. But the report, oh, is it? All right. I always feel like I yell loud enough for everyone. Feel like I am yelling at people. But again, this Resilient Tampa roadmap is groundbreaking for our city and will make the city a much, much stronger and resilient community moving into the future. As I said, we have worked very closely with a number of experts. I'm very thankful to all of the private partners that stepped to the plate and helped us fund this report. We could not have done it without you. But the culmination is 60 recommendations that we will be able to implement here in the city of Tampa. Now, one of the things, a couple that I want to highlight here that are near and dear to my heart and I believe are incredibly important to the city's future, is looking at the development of a community land trust. We have made a great deal of progress in this particular area. As many of you know, we have put together task forces to address those areas that are critically important to our community moving forward. We looked in the very beginning at development services, put together a roadmap, if you will, for making improvements in that particular area, looking at community-centric services, how we could provide those services that all of our residents have grown accustomed to receiving every single day, and then looking at those critical issues of home ownership, making sure that we have affordable housing in our community, looking at workforce development, and then also ensuring that we have the transportation solutions to meet the needs of our community. So this resiliency roadmap is focusing on the environment, but it's also focusing on our neighborhoods, which is critically important. So when you look at the particular area of housing affordability, to put together a community land trust is very important. We all know that as our city progresses and grows, that the price of homes is increasing, the price of real estate is increasing. And so by creating this land trust and being able to put plots of land into that land trust, we will make those available to developers so that they can construct more affordable units, multifamily housing, and also residential units for our community. We're already off to a great start in this particular area, and I want to point out Marley Wilkes and all of her efforts to not only create this land trust, but to get the community involved and supporting. Next is to promote a one water plan. We're here at Sulphur Springs, as many of you have heard me say. I personally believe that water is going to be the most important resource worldwide in very short order. And so we have to do everything that we can to ensure that we are not only providing that clean water, but that we are saving as much water as we can. The conservation point is critically important. The city of Tampa to date has made great strides in conservation, but we have to look at every element. One of those is the outfall that we put out, treated water up to 50 million gallons a day that we put out into the bay. We have a plan to save that water and hopefully bring it down to this area, inject it into the aquifer, and it will protect Sulphur Springs and all of the aquifer and the wells that are below Sulphur Springs from the salinity that is creeping into our water. And that is critically important. Something that you can't see from the surface, but is critical to the future of our community. So creating a one water plan is very, very important. And it's not just to the city of Tampa, it is to the entire Tampa Bay area. Tampa Bay Water plays a very important part of that. We're a member of that consortium, and we want to ensure that we're successful and able to supply water to the entire Tampa Bay area. And next, another one of the recommendations that is very near and dear to my heart is the expansion of broadband access. When you look at broadband access, there's a divide between our black and brown community and our white residents. There's about a 10% divide in the access to broadband. And we all know that that's critical on so many levels, not just from a standpoint of education, but from employment and in so many other social aspects. And so we want to ensure that everyone has access and an opportunity to access broadband in our city. One of the things that we did during the pandemic, among many other programs, was to wire many of our parks and recreation centers that were in our black and brown communities, to wire them with Wi-Fi access so that the young kids in the neighborhood could come in, get their schoolwork done, continue on with their education without any breaks, but also allow the entire community to come in. If they needed access to Wi-Fi for the job, to make those social connections, whatever their life needs were, we wanted to make sure that that was available. So we want to work with the broadband companies to ensure that we are making that available. That's only 3 of the 60 recommendations. This report here, although it is light in actual weight, it is a very, very, very heavy mandate. The city cannot do it alone, nor can the city in partnership with organizations and businesses. It's going to take every single one of us, residents, businesses, organizations, and the entire city team, to bring this plan to fruition. And it will help not only in those shocks and stressors that we all know, those areas of hurricanes, flooding, those types of pandemics, those types of incidents that are expected and unexpected. it will also help us in those day-to-day areas that are critically important that we address for the future of our city, looking at housing affordability, looking at income inequality, looking at transportation. Those areas are critically important to the success of our city. Tampa's future is very bright. There is no doubt that we are going to prosper as we move forward, and it is our job to ensure that everyone is lifted up, everyone gets to take part in that success and that prosperity that we are going to realize. That means we all have to work together to realize a resilient city of Tampa. So I couldn't be more proud of this moment, and I couldn't be more proud of our Resiliency and Sustainability Officer, Whit Raymer, who is going to come up and share more details with you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here to celebrate this important milestone for the city of Tampa. You know, creating a resilience roadmap is not easy and sometimes is even an uncomfortable process. This 18-month experience is a reflection of the things holding us back from reaching our full potential and highlighting and building upon what makes this such an incredible place to work, live, and play. We learned a lot through this process about the challenges that exist from person to person, family to family, business to business, or neighborhood to neighborhood. And it's not all equal. But we learned that people want to live here because they see a city of abundant opportunity, natural beauty, and diversity that adds richness to our community. We're not aware of another city in the world that started a resilience roadmap planning process prior to COVID, remained resilient through the pandemic, and meanwhile we're able to capture real-time public health, economic, and social data and trends that we were able to capture into the roadmap and then emerge here today on the tail end of this pandemic with a strategy that incorporates all of those lessons in such a comprehensive, real-time, and forward-looking fashion. This is monumental not only for our city, but frankly, this is a milestone for resilience planning efforts around the world. But it was Mayor Castor's vision to develop a resilience roadmap even before I started with the city of Tampa. I don't think anyone could imagine the shocks and stressors that bore down on us this past year. The shock of COVID, the tipping points for long simmering social and racial justice issues across this city and across our country. Environmental threats right here in our backyard. But just as much as this plan recognizes those challenges, it proposes actions to address them. The strategy is designed using 4 chapters, starting with people first. Opportunity for all Tampanians. Next, we look at neighborhoods and the ability to lift up all of our neighborhoods, provide that 15-minute city that everyone wants, to have services right down the street, to have adequate transportation, safe sidewalks and streets right here in their neighborhood. The 3rd chapter is called Climate-Ready Infrastructure. For many of you, I think resilience, when you first think of it, it had to do with preparing for hurricanes and climate change. But resilience is just as important about our infrastructure as it is our people and our neighborhoods, our access to education systems and social services. But this particular chapter, Climate Ready Infrastructure, is a way for us to address our carbon emissions and make sure that we're building infrastructure that meets the challenges of the next century. Our 4th chapter, our Growing and Connected City, recognizes that we are a pivotal point in our city's growth. We need to figure out what kind of city we want to be in the future. We're no longer small-town Tampa, but we can still have that feel. We need to understand how and where we want to grow. You know, these themes emerged from the community, not from the resilience experts that helped build out the framework to realize it. This is truly the community's roadmap. You heard the mayor talk about a couple of initiatives that were close to her. I'll touch on a couple that are close to me. Cultivating partnerships for economic mobility through One Tampa. One Tampa is a new nonprofit that was started through the help of community partners, the city of Tampa, and really a long time coming effort to increase economic mobility efforts for everyone in Tampa. The initiative aims to advance innovative economic mobility, workforce development, and housing affordability solutions through partnerships with philanthropy and the private sector. One Tampa has integrated the work of the Workforce Council and will now focus on partnering with the largest employers and supporting innovative workforce programming, wraparound services such as childcare, transportation, and language translation. The Workforce Council will be critical to ensuring that activities are aligned with the businesses and train Tampanians for long-term career opportunities. Another initiative, ensure all municipal operations are run on 100% renewable energy. The city of Tampa stands ready to be a part of the transition to renewable energy. We don't have a choice. We have to preserve and maintain our incredible city and reduce future vulnerabilities. And we can do that by stopping and reducing our carbon emissions and be leaders on the renewable energy front. The city will embrace many initiatives in the spirit of this commitment. We're going to retrofit existing buildings, invest in renewable energy infrastructure, and adopt policies that encourage citywide use of renewables to lessen our impact on carbon emissions and leading to a greener, cleaner future. The city of Tampa uses over 500 megawatts of energy per day, and this summer we'll have a full inventory, not only of municipal operations, but a full-wide community-scale greenhouse carbon emissions report. We're going to take this data and we're going to develop a climate action and equity plan to ensure we're doing our part to transition to a renewable energy economy, supporting job opportunities along the way. Another one that's really, I think, important to Sulphur Springs is, if you kind of look around you, we've got the racetrack. There are a lot of parking lots around here. We've got an initiative to deploy an urban heat island program. In the summer, these parking lots heat up sometimes 10, 20, 30 degrees hotter than the ambient air temperature. The Tampa Bay region can expect more than 60 days with a heat index of over 100 degrees and 30 days with a heat index of over 105 degrees. We're going to collect data from these hotspots and deploy targeted programs that provide shade, look at roof cover and color, and ensure that we keep citizens safe from prolonged heat exposure. These are just a few of the great initiatives in the roadmap. There are more. Explore children's savings accounts, expand our wildly successful Stay and Play program, increase complete streets, and implement our Vision Zero program, work that many of my great colleagues are already doing here today, and we're recognizing this in one single document, lifting up their work even more. It's an exciting time to live in Tampa. I know the mayor is proud to lead on this work, but it is imperative that the community steps up and steps forward and finds an initiative close to their heart so we can all become a more resilient Tampa. Thank you. I'd like to welcome to the podium Walter Smith, who co-chairs the Tampa Bay Disaster Resilience Initiative.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. My name is Walter Smith. I am the chair of the Tampa Bay Disaster Resilience Initiative. I also happen to be an environmental engineer. I am very, very happy to be here this morning on behalf of my organization, but also on behalf of my people. Whenever I look around the room at an environmental convention or anything having to do with the environment, it's rare that I see anybody else that looks like me. This is a happy day because as I look around right now, I see people with whom I've worked to change that. We have been working here in this community for quite some time, for more than a year, We've been here for at least 3 years, working with people like Idris Muhammad, Richard Muhammad, Joseph Robinson, Jackie Leaks, and these people who are from this area right here in the Springs. It's important for us to understand the realities of the frontline communities. And this right here, this program right here, the Resilience Tampa Bay program, is a program that is going to change and transform communities, I do believe. As long as we stick to the basic concept of 100% clean energy. Let me explain to you why that's important when we talk about the issue of narratives. You see, whenever we talk narratives, we talk about the issue of understanding that at the top of the list of everything bad with respiratory issues, illnesses, deaths that are based on the impacts of the environment, the people who are most impacted look like me. Very rarely are these lists talked about. Very rarely are these communities visited. Very rarely have we dealt with these issues, but we have to understand that the movement that we are creating right now with this resilient movement, and believe me, it is a resilient movement. It is a people-powered movement. And when you talk people power, you have to have the people involved. This is bottom up, not top down. And we are going to continue to go out and get the needs assessments. We're going to continue to go out there and do the grocery give outs. We're going to continue to go out there and visit these communities and find out why these people are getting sick. We're going to continue to make certain that this remains a people-powered movement. And so in closing, I thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this particular board. And let me be clear about something. Whit called me, I'll never forget, when Whit called me and asked me to be a part of this, I said, now Whit, I'm going to be clear with you now. I'm not going to be quiet. He said, no, Walt, we don't want you to be quiet. We don't want you to be quiet. I said, okay, I'm just letting you know. Because he, like I, believe in the people-powered movement of the Resilience Tampa Bay. Thank you.
Good morning. Wow, that is a tough act to follow. It's all a tough act to follow. Good morning. I'm CJ Reynolds, the Director of Resiliency and Engagement with the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. I'm honored to serve on the Mayor's Sustainability and Resiliency team, and really delighted to participate in this momentous announcement today. I'm also a resident of Tampa, so pride in the city. It's really, really exciting. On behalf of the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, I congratulate the mayor and her team and the advisors who have produced this really forward-looking, ambitious resilience plan. We are indeed a region of champions. How about last night? Woo! 2019 was an especially important year for bringing in new leaders with winning visions. Leaders who have attracted new talent and resources and have motivated existing staff to achieve impressive new feats. So congratulations to the team. Team Tampa and others. Right. Under the mayor's direction, the city of Tampa is joining other world-class cities, as Walt and Whit have discussed, who have developed comprehensive climate resilience action plans. This new plan lays out key plays which involve every department and define goals for working together with our community, organizations, business partners, neighborhoods, so we can make forward progress. This is crucial because the increased storms and the severity of the storms and flooding from sea level rise, increasing heat and droughts have the potential to substantially impact all aspects of our communities, from our health, our homes, our neighborhoods, our roads, as well as our business districts, key job sectors, and our local economy. And of course, also our ecosystems and wildlife, which we all love. So some people may wonder or even criticize the cost of becoming resilient. We must become more aware of the full cost of not becoming resilient. The Regional Planning Council has been analyzing the technical and economic aspects of extreme weather and climate change going all the way back to 1993 with a study of sea level rise in Sarasota Bay. In 2017, our office produced the Cost of Doing Nothing report, which identified the potential economic impacts stemming from sea level rise in Hillsborough, Manatee, Pasco, and Pinellas counties. Most recently, just this year, we released Taking Stock, which builds on that analysis and looks at impacts specifically of extreme heat. Heat will become a major issue, with impacts to the infrastructure, our workforce, our health, and increasing our energy costs unless we become more sustainable and use more renewable sources and cut our energy. So these issues affect everyone, everywhere, which is why working together is absolutely essential. In October of 2018, the Regional Planning Council members formed the Tampa Bay Regional Resilience Coalition. Today, the coalition includes 31 local governments, both cities and counties, which includes Tampa, of course, and more than 90 partners from the private sector, organizations, universities, advocacy organizations, nonprofits as well, and specifically even individual businesses and neighborhood groups. This coalition is actively collaborating on a range of resilience issues and new initiatives. And in January of 2020, just before everything went off the rails with COVID, nearly 350 people attended the first Resilient Regional Leadership Summit to hear mayors, county leaders, and experts discuss how our issues were impacting us today and what priorities we had for resilience. So it's been really exciting to see the progress of the counties and the cities as we move forward from just 1 year ago. So this year, the members of the coalition and many of our stakeholder partner organizations are working to produce the region's first resilience action plan. So we've had many collaborative conversations with departments and staff through the cities and the counties, getting input from them on what should be the region's priorities, what cities and counties are going to be working on. The plan really reflects many of the goals and actions as the Tampa plan. I think they say it better even in some ways, so we'll have to borrow from that. Our collaboration and shared priorities are really well understood, and it's a pleasure and honor to help coordinate and bring these together. We also have had 10 work group and workshop sessions under COVID in Zoom meetings, so a lot of great input from everyone. And in the past 2 years, more and more cities and counties have received grants because of the ramp up of the staff knowledge and skills and permission and vision of leadership, getting grants, bringing in money to do what needs to be done. These are really important things, and we applaud the work that you guys have done to achieve that. So we've also need to do more work to study these impacts to our critical infrastructure, our transportation systems, and also implement our solar and energy resilience programs for post-disaster preparedness. So increased housing affordability is really one of the top regional priorities. Building more homes and apartments that are resilient and sustainable and affordable is a must. Helping residents with limited incomes to also protect their homes against storms is a must. housing mitigation is really a critical issue. Housing weatherization and energy efficiency, as we talked about heat, becomes more and more critical. Working with landlords and property owners is a must. So thanks to our grant from the J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation in partnership with USF, UF, United Way, and all of the partner cities and counties that are working on us, we're collaborating to develop really robust new tools to define risks to homes and neighborhoods. And we'll be better able to set targeted program goals to become more resilient, to work with the citizens and neighborhoods to become more resilient. Data-driven decision-making is necessary to become more resilient. So enough with the hard talk on that. I just wanted to say congratulations. Thank you for inviting me to participate. I know a lot of the challenging work is ahead of us. We'll all collaborate, so congratulations to the mayor, the team, the staff, all of the leadership, the partners who have brought us here to today. This just didn't happen overnight. We look forward to collaborating with you, and thank you for your time. All good. Turn it back over to Whit.
Sure. At this point in time, I think the mayor and I will take questions.
Yes, it was the question was about the loss of the all for transportation funding, and that was a critical blow to our community, but it hasn't slowed us down. We have an incredible mobility group within the city of Tampa led by Gene Duncan, and they have the plans to not only turn our roadways back into neighborhood roads where we have segregated bicycle lanes, wider sidewalks, and safer transit roadways and options for the public. We also hired an individual for Vision Zero to ensure that we're making our roads safer. As far as the funding for those particular efforts, again, it was a loss with the All for Transportation. I see another referendum being put on the ballot soon because it was overwhelmingly voted for by the citizens in Hillsborough County. And I have yes, we can have an applause on that. And we have no reason to believe that it won't be voted upon again, but that's not slowing us down. Although we are trying to slow down the driving public, but we are looking at other funding sources through the Biden administration. Whatever we can do to collaborate with other organizations, to look to grants, everything that we can do to keep our plans moving forward, to make sure that our city is safe for all of our driving, walking, and bicycling community. So thank you. That was a great question. All right, if there are no other questions, oh. No, I don't have any thoughts about that. That's between Mayor Kreisman and the owner of the Rays. We are continuing to have those conversations about the Rays moving to Tampa, the city of Tampa. As I said, Tampa Bay area is too big to lose a major league sporting event, and especially the future winners of the World Series. And so we want to make sure that we can keep all of our sports teams here. I think you know me, Charlie. I can work with anybody. No doubt about that. Well, I would like to say finally that this project was incredibly difficult. And then when you add on top of trying to develop a resiliency roadmap for our community, addressing our current needs and leading us into the future, if that's not difficult enough, you put a pandemic on top of it. So I would like to thank Whit everyone that was a part of the task force. I'd like to thank every single resident who filled out a survey, everyone who participated in the workshops, because this is a community effort. And this, unfortunately, was the easy part. Quite often, anybody that's around me on our team hears me say all the time that the great idea, the great plan is just a part of the equation. In order to realize success, you have to implement that plan or that idea. And as has been said several times this morning, this is a community effort. It's going to take each and every one of you. But what I do stand before you today, what I am here to say is that you have the promise that this will not fall off of the list of priorities for the city of Tampa. Every single roadmap that the community has helped us develop to date with affordable housing, transportation, workforce development, they all are met with quarterly meetings where we go over every single recommendation, the progress we've made, what needs to be done to ensure that we are successfully implementing those plans. This resiliency plan will be no different. It is critically important to our future. I couldn't be more proud of the team that developed this, and I am so looking forward to transforming Tampa's tomorrow. Thank you all. Great job.